Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of amazing entrepreneurs. Patricia Burke, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I never met a linguist.
Okay. Unique journey.
It is a unique journey. And tell us a little bit more about your own journey. Tell us a little bit about what a linguist does and what Patricia Burke does.
I personally, this linguist,
Yes.
has a language school.
Mm-hmm.
And we offer language services, not only courses, but also translation, website editing and translation, interpretation, soft skills like presentation skills in a foreign language, or marketing, or telephone skills in the foreign language, email writing in the foreign language.
That's very good. But you said something that caught my ear. Interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So something that is written and and it's probably translated into, let's say, from English to Spanish. It might be interpreted from or by a Mexican reader as something different than maybe me, a Castilian reader, or a South American reader. So that's what you do. You try to interpret that. Is that what it
usually
means?
the difference between translation, interpretation is more the spoken, the verbal.
Right.
Translation can be consecutive or immediate interpretation, and then there is the written translation.
Okay, I got you. So where does this business come about? I mean, how do you get in? How do you find this as a business?
Okay, how did it start?
Yeah, how did it start?
Okay, so 25 years ago, I was director of several large language schools in Germany. I had already worked as a teacher trainer, and as a director at schools. And so I had a pretty good idea of what was needed in the language instruction business. So I started catering initially to only companies, creating wholly customized courses at companies. They would give us their manuals, their technical manuals, their old presentations, old emails. We would go through that, and from that material, we would create a course and role plays, completely customized. That means that the role plays that they were practicing wasn't just ordering a steak at a restaurant or reserving a hotel, booking a hotel room, but actually situations that they actually needed at that particular business. It might be pharmaceutical or banks or telecommunication companies. And then I started my children's courses, and that has really taken off well as well. We started that like 20 years ago. And we offer courses after school for children. Foreign language courses, Mandarin, Spanish, French.
My biggest regret is not teaching my kids Spanish. I mean, that's my native language, and they grew up with me, and I spoke to them in English, and it's my biggest regret. Is it too late? Should I just write them off? They're 25 and 26.
It's never too late, and
is that?
It really is true. And in fact, I have to do a lot of research about this when I'm talking to people about it.
Sure.
And it turns out that your gray matter expands greatly while you're learning languages, which keeps you alert and helps deter Alzheimer's and all sorts of things. So no, it's never too late.
It's never too late to learn a language.
It's always a good idea. Yeah.
What is in this journey of translations and you speak how many languages? 4, 6?
5.
5 languages.
Yes.
All right. You speak 5 languages. And which languages, by the way?
French, German, English, Italian, Spanish, a little bit of Portuguese, but those 5.
I see you like at least 3 or 4 Romance languages.
Yes.
Romanian and Catalonian, I guess, would be the other 2 Romance languages, correct?
Yes.
In addition to Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French.
Yeah, if you count any of the other dialects of Spain.
Right,
but
right. So, when you enter this business of translation, and we're talking about it's never too late to learn a language and all that thing. When you teach this language to adults, what is the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome? versus teaching it to kids? Are
Okay,
kids more,
okay.
are kids more receptive
Well,
into learning, a little
yes,
more spongy?
the kids just accept it. That's the way it is. That it's another language, and that's the way it is.
There's
They
no
don't-
prejudices.
Exactly. Once you wait a minute. My language, we do it this way. Why is it like that? Well, because that's Spanish and that's English, or that's French and that's your language. But and sometimes I try to do as much as possible without translation during the. I try to do it full immersion in the language that it's being taught. But sometimes I do like to make those associations so that they see. Look, you have it in your language too. So
I
and
see.
sometimes it does help too.
Do you find that people that speak multiple languages, do you find those people more tolerant socially, politically?
Yes, absolutely. I think that if they're learning a language, they're also interested in learning more about that culture. And we always, that's why it's for kids, it's called language and culture, because we teach both.
Language and culture, and this is
the kids program.
This is the kids program, and this thing right here. Let me just open it up to any page, really. This is the manual.
These are
Like for instance, you have games here.
That's very important point, because we try to teach everything. When we introduce a vocabulary, it's called vocab intro technique. And when we introduce vocabulary, we don't do it with flashcards. Okay, repeat after me, but we actually do it through a game. So they understand since we don't translate, they need to understand what's going on, and through the game, they're able to see what the words mean without me translating. And at the same time, they have fun doing it, and they have to use the language, because if they don't use the language, you can't do the game. So.
Do you find that there is a specific method that is better than others, or from others, to teach a language? I mean, you have Rosetta Stone, you have your own. There are just multiple methods. In fact,
Of course, mine.
see, that's the right answer. You see, that's the correct answer. I love it. I love it. But is there? I remember there was another method some years ago, the Racia method, where you had to act out the words and everything
I
else.
do a lot of that.
Well, does it work?
It does work. It does. I always say if you act it out and you have to think about it a little bit without the translation, then it does stay.
It stays in your mind.
It stays in your brain. And I think one important thing, and I always say that about my method, is that it's dynamic. So I've always said there's no two groups that are the same, or two students that are the same, or two industries that are the same. So I always try to do it as customized as possible and as individualized as possible. And it's a dynamic method, meaning I come up with, teachers come up with new techniques. I'm like, oh, yes, that works better to make them understand. So that is why we have a whole catalog of techniques that we use, and it keeps expanding and expanding.
Let's just focus a little bit about your challenges as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. What is your biggest challenge as a business owner?
I think, to be very honest, I think
After all, this is a business.
Yes, and I think that maybe it's the same with any business, really. When you count on a third person and you want that person to be able to perform the way you want them to perform, then the training is extremely important. So, yeah.
So reliability, relying on somebody else to
yes,
to
and
do.
make sure, and all the class visits that we do.
So sometimes you wish you can clone yourself.
Well, that's why I have other people working with me. But relying on a third person, yes, it's important to make sure that that person is on the right track.
Somebody that wanted to get into this business, what would your advice be? Is it for everybody?
You have to like languages, you have to know languages, you have to like people, and if we talk about the teacher's side of it, not the business side of it, I don't only look for teachers who have had an academic background
Sure.
in teaching. I have to have a little demo and interview and everything with them and make sure that they also have the knack for it, to be able to teach a class without any translations. And
What's the best language?
to learn, my favorite language.
Well, all right. So what is your favorite language?
I think Portuguese is beautiful, and it's the only one I never really spent that much time on.
Eu falo português.
Eu falo um pouco.
Um pouquinho?
Eu entendo.
E se você fala devagar, eu entendo.
Sim, também eu, se você fala devagar.
What is the best language to say I love you?
Je t'aime.
Je t'aime. That's the right answer, by the way. It's in my book. With that, we're out.